They mocked her wolf. They mocked her voice. They mocked the quiet Omega who never lifted her eyes and never fought back. But the night they tried to break her spirit for the last time, the moon answered for her. And the Omega they scorned awakened a power older than every alpha in the room. A power that once crowned queens. A power meant to destroy the wolves who underestimated her. And elevate the one destiny they never saw coming. Arya Vale. Alpha Queen. Before we go deeper into betrayal, awakening, and a rise so powerful it will shake every pack to its knees. Subscribe and drop a comment if you believe an Omega can rule harder than any alpha ever has. Now breathe in. The transformation begins. The Blood Moon Gathering was supposed to be a celebration. For every wolf in Silvercrest pack, it was a night of pride, privilege, dominance. For Arya Vale, it was a reminder of everything she was not. Omegas weren't meant to stand near the firelight. They weren't meant to be seen. They weren't meant to be acknowledged unless commanded. So Arya stayed where she always did. At the edge of the circle, half hidden behind the old pine tree, carrying trays of meat for wolves who never learned her name. She had learned to disappear. She had learned to survive. But tonight, fate refused to let her stay invisible. Because when Alpha Rowan Voss stepped into the firelight, tall, ruthless, golden-eyed heir to the throne of 3 allied packs, the air shifted. Wolves straightened. Beaters lowered their gazes. Females whispered and pushed hair back from their marks. Everyone wanted Rowan. Everyone except Arya. She just wanted to get through the night without being shoved, mocked, or humiliated. But when Rowan walked past, his eyes snagged on her. Just one flicker. One heartbeat. One whisper of the bond she didn't dare hope for. And then, before Arya could even breathe, his beater sneered. Alpha, don't look at her. She's the mute Omega. The one with no wolf. Laughter rippled. Arya's stomach twisted. Rowan's gaze hardened, a cold, cutting blade. Then she is beneath notice. His voice carried across the clearing. I reject even the thought of acknowledging her. She froze. Not because she believed she was worthy of him, but because her soul mark, silent all her life, flared beneath her skin like a hot brand. Rowan's head snapped toward her again. The firelight flickered. Something ancient stirred. But before the bond could speak, Rowan turned away. Well, he snapped at her. Go on, Omega. Serve us. Something in her broke. The laughter. The humiliation. The pain of a mark awakening for a wolf who wanted no part of her. She ran. Into the forest. Into darkness. Into the territory no wolf dared cross. And there, in the silver cradle of the moon's light, something rose inside her. A pulse. A voice. A wolf that had been caged for 20 years. Stand, Arya Vale. Her bones cracked. Her vision burned gold. Her scream became a howl. And Silvercrest's weakest Omega shifted for the first time into a wolf with eyes that glowed like moonfire and a presence that shook the trees. A wolf that made Alpha's bow. A wolf that belonged to a forgotten lineage. A wolf born to rule. The transformation didn't come gently. It didn't come like warmth or awakening or the sweet whisper of destiny. It came like fire. Arya collapsed in the clearing, her hands digging into the frozen soil as her spine arched and cracked. Light, silver, blinding, ancient, poured through every bone, every nerve, every breath. She gasped as her vision blurred, shifting between the world she knew and a world her blood remembered. Her wolf, silent her entire life, now roared like it had been waiting centuries. Stand, Arya Vale. Her fingernails lengthened, splitting, turning into claws. Her jaw expanded, bones reshaping, teeth sharpening. Her skin rippled, fur bursting through. Her wolf form was not small. Not weak. Not omega-sized. She was massive. Luminous. Terrifying. And when she lifted her head and howled, the forest bent to her voice. Back at the blood moon gathering, wolves froze mid-sentence. Beta Dorian dropped his drink. Rowan's eyes widened, wolf flashing behind them. Even the elders stirred in alarm. That howl, one whispered. It's not from our pack. It's too strong to be a rogue. It sounds like. Every head turned toward the dark line of the trees. Rowan stepped forward slowly, nostrils flaring. Something pulled at him. Something sharp, electric, primal. Mate. The instinct slammed into him with spine-snapping force. He staggered. What is it? Dorian asked sharply. Rowan didn't answer. His wolf surged, pounding against his skin. She's awakened. Who? Rowan demanded. His wolf snarled. The one you dismissed. Shock punched his lungs. No, Rowan whispered. No. Impossible. She's an omega. She. But the bond tugged again, violently. Not weak. Not faint. Powerful. Alive. Calling him. Dorian frowned. Alpha. What's wrong? Rowan's jaw clenched. He didn't want this. Didn't expect this. Didn't believe this. Arya Vale. The small omega he'd rejected with a single cold sentence. No. The moon wouldn't curse him like that. Would she? Rowan's pulse hammered. Alpha, Dorian said slowly, that howl, it came from the forbidden woods. Rowan's eyes narrowed. No wolf who entered those woods survived. Unless they belonged to something older than the packs. Something Rowan didn't dare name. He turned toward the trees. The mate paw sharpened. Arya stumbled on her new paws, still dazed. Her wolf was enormous, silver-white, streaked with pale gold, each step leaving a faint glow on the ground. She could feel her power pulsing outward. It terrified her. It thrilled her. It felt right. But beneath the awe was something else. A broken place in her chest. Rowan's rejection still stung like frostbite. He didn't want her. Didn't see her. Didn't think she was worth a second breath. And now her wolf wanted him. No, she whispered through the bond space. Not him. Not the one who spat on me. Her wolf's voice was quiet, steady. He spat on the omega. Not on the queen. What queen? Arya breathed. I'm nothing. Her wolf snorted. You shifted under the blood moon. You carry royal lineage in your bones. Your wolf was suppressed to protect you from those who feared your rise. Arya shook her large, furred head. Rise to what? The forest wind answered. Alpha. No. More than alpha. Impossible. Queen. Her wolf's certainty terrified her more than the transformation. Branches snapped behind her. Arya whipped around just as Rowan stepped into the clearing, eyes burning gold, breath coming hard, wolf pushing at the edges of his skin. When he saw her, he froze. All color drained from his face. Shock. Hunger. Fear. Recognition. Arya, he whispered. Her wolf growled, a deep, thrumming sound that made Rowan's knees tremble. He stumbled backward, shaken. You can't be. You're. I rejected. You. Every word only stoked the fury rising at the base of her throat. Her wolf stepped forward, enormous and glowing. Rowan swallowed hard. Arya, shift back. Please. We need to talk. She didn't shift. She didn't move. She just stared at him. The mate who dismissed her as beneath notice. Rowan's voice cracked. I didn't know. She growled again. He flinched. For the first time in his life. Alpha Rowan Voss felt small. And the Omega he scorned towered. I made a mistake, he whispered. Her wolf's lips curled. Mistake? No. He had committed a sin. One that would cost him more than he ever imagined. Because when Arya finally shifted back, she would rise not as Omega, but as Alpha Queen. Rowan had faced rival packs, rogue alphas, blood duels under the moon. But nothing. Absolutely nothing. Prepared him for the sight of Arya Vale in her true wolf form. She was impossible. Too large for an Omega. Too luminous for a Beta. Too powerful even for an Alpha. Her fur shimmered like frost-lit flame, each breath a pulse of silver-gold energy rippling through the clearing. The air bent around her, as if reality itself was adjusting to make space for a creature who had no right to exist. Rowan's wolf dropped into a crouch inside him. Not to attack. To bow. Mate, his wolf growled again. Mate. 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 Rowan's stomach twisted. He fought the instinct with everything he had. No, he whispered, shaking his head. No. She can't be. The moon wouldn't. I didn't. Arya took one slow, deliberate step toward him. Her paws left glowing prints in the snow. Rowan's breath hitched. Arya, stop, he whispered. She didn't. Another step. Silent. Powerful. Regal. Her aura brushed his skin, and Rowan nearly fell to one knee. His wolf whimpered like a scolded pup. He had rejected her. Publicly. Cruelly. Arrogantly. And now fate was dragging him to his knees before the girl he'd called beneath notice. I didn't know, Rowan murmured again, voice cracking. I swear, Arya, I didn't know your wolf was. Her eyes narrowed. Eyes that glowed brighter than any alphas he had ever seen. She remembered. She felt. She knew. And she was not here to forgive him. Rowan's breath shuddered. Please, shift back. Let me explain. Her wolf growled. A low, dark rumble that vibrated through the earth. He flinched. Again. Alpha Rowan Voss. The wolf who had terrified entire packs into submission. Took a trembling step backward from an Omega turned something else. Arya's growl deepened. Rowan raised his hands slowly, palms up. Okay. Okay. I won't step closer. Just, let me speak. The forest went still. Rowan exhaled shakily. Arya, I didn't know you were my mate. Her wolf's lip curled. He swallowed hard. I didn't know you had a wolf. Another growl. His voice cracked. I didn't know you were. He gestured helplessly at the radiant form before him. This. Her wolf advanced one more step. Rowan's wolf shoved through his skin, forcing him to bow his head. Not by choice. But by instinct. Submit, his wolf whispered. She is stronger. Rowan snarled internally. Stronger than me. Stronger than all, his wolf replied. Rowan's heartbeat pounded like war drums. This wasn't a normal awakening. This wasn't a late-blooming Omega. This was something older. Something forbidden. Something royal. And Rowan, who had mocked her, dismissed her, humiliated her, felt shame burn through him like poison. He lowered his gaze completely. Arya, he whispered, I wronged you. Her wolf's ears flicked. And not just tonight. His jaw clenched. You deserved better. You always did. Silence. His throat tightened. If the moon gave me a second chance. A savage growl cut him off. Her wolf lunged. Not to attack, but to force him back. Rowan stumbled, falling into the snow. She towered over him, chest heaving with fury, betrayal, awakening power. Her breath hit his cheek, hot, electric, tinged with the scent of prophecy. Rowan didn't dare move. He stared up at her in awe and fear and something deeper. Regret. True, utter regret. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't see you. Her wolf bared her fangs inches from his face. A warning. A vow. A promise. She would never belong to a wolf who only valued strength after it appeared. Rowan squeezed his eyes shut. Not from fear. From loss. The bond inside him thrummed painfully. It wanted her. It reached for her. But Arya's bond. Cold. Silent. Untouched by his desire. When Rowan reopened his eyes, Arya stepped back, slowly, gracefully, like a queen dismissing a king she no longer recognized. He exhaled sharply. Then something strange happened. Her wolf hesitated. For a brief moment, her gaze slid to Rowan's chest. Confusion flickered through their link space. Her wolf whispered something Arya didn't fully understand. Not the mate. Not anymore. But once. Meant to be. Arya shook her massive head, rejecting the thought. Rowan saw the conflict. He stood slowly, hands open, voice gentle. Arya. I won't force anything. I won't command you. I just. His throat closed. I need you to know I regret everything I said. Her wolf inhaled deeply. And smelled truth. But truth wasn't enough. Not anymore. Arya stepped back into the shadows of the forest. Rowan panicked. Wait, don't go. It's dangerous out there. She let out a single, sharp bark. A command. Stay. Do not follow. Rowan froze. Her presence faded into the forest mist. Silver fur disappearing between the pines. Moonlight trailing in her wake. The Omega they scorned. The Omega Rowan rejected. Was gone. In her place. A wolf who no alpha was ready to face. A storm rising. A legacy waking. An empress reborn. Rowan fell to his knees in the snow. He whispered her name like a prayer he never deserved to say. Arya. But Arya was no longer listening. She was running. Running with a wolf who finally tasted freedom. Running with a power she couldn't fully control. Running toward the truth buried in her bloodline. Tonight, an Omega awakened. Tomorrow. A queen would rise. Arya ran until the world blurred into streaks of silver and shadow. Her paws tore through snow-dusted earth, her breath crystallizing in the air, the forest bending around her as if clearing a path. Every stride sent power rippling through her muscles, ancient, barely contained, frighteningly alive. Her wolf had never been silent. She had been suppressed. Caged. Muted. Buried. Why? Arya demanded through the bond space. Why now? Why tonight? Why me? Her wolf answered with a voice older than her bones. Because the moon has finally loosened the chains. Arya's chest tightened. What chains? The ones placed on us as infants. A pause. By the elders who feared our blood. Arya stumbled mid-run, claws scraping ice. What are you talking about? Her wolf slowed, stepping into a clearing bathed in pale light. Frost coated the branches like crystal armor. The air was still, expectant, humming with power Arya didn't understand. Look around, her wolf whispered. Do you recognize this place? Arya turned slowly. No. She had never been here. And yet. Her heart pounded with familiarity. A circle of stones, half buried by snow. Deep grooves etched with runes. A faint glimmer of silver fire marking the ground. This was no ordinary clearing. It was a ritual site. A royal one. Her wolf padded toward the center. You were born here, Arya Vale. Arya's human mind reeled. No. My mother, she died in childbirth. I was born in the Pack Healing House. Everyone knows that. Her wolf's growl was soft. Bitter. Ancient. Everyone knows a lie. Arya's breath hitched. Who lied? The elders. The council. Even Rowan's father. Arya's pulse thundered in her ears. Why would they hide where I was born? Why hide my wolf? Why hide everything? Her wolf lifted her head toward the moon. Because our bloodline threatened every alpha in Silvercrest. Silence crashed through Arya. Threatened every alpha. Impossible. She was an Omega. Small. Quiet. Unmarked. Unshifted. Nothing about her had ever been threatening. Explain, she demanded. Her wolf obeyed. We are not Omega. Her wolf's voice was a growl of truth awakening. We are Frostborn. Arya felt the name like a blade sliding between ribs. What does that mean? It means, you are descended from the first Alpha Queens. A pause heavy with destiny. The ones chosen by the moon before packs had names, before alphas had thrones. Arya's knees weakened. No. No, that can't. But instinct whispered yes. Her wolf whispered yes. The moon whispered yes. Her entire life she had been small because they made her small. Silent because they muted her. Weak because they feared her strength. They bound your wolf at birth, her wolf continued. So you could never challenge their sons. Another growl. So you would never claim what was rightfully yours. Arya shook her head violently. Why me? Why my blood? Why my family? The air thickened. Her wolf's reply was low, reverent, agonized. Because your mother was the last Frostborn queen. And they killed her to end the line. Arya screamed inside her own mind. No, my mother died giving birth. Her wolf snarled. She died protecting you. Not from childbirth. A beat. But from the elders who wanted our bloodline extinguished. Arya's heart shattered. She staggered backward, wolf paws slipping on frozen earth, breath coming ragged and sharp. Pain crashed through her, not physical, but ancestral. A legacy she never knew she carried. A betrayal deeper than any rejection. A truth the elders burned from history. She was the daughter of a murdered queen. And they had raised her as a servant. A joke. A weakling. A nobody. Arya felt fury ignite in her bones. She growled, low, dangerous, primal. The forest stirred. The moon brightened. Her wolf whispered. Now you understand why Rowan felt the bond but denied it. Why the elders mocked you. Why they buried your wolf. Why they made you Omega. Arya's chest heaved. They were terrified of me. It was not a question. They still are, her wolf answered. A snapping branch cut the air. Arya spun, muscles coiled. From the shadows, a figure emerged, wrapped in dark robes, face half hidden beneath a wolf bone mask etched with runes. Not a rogue. Not a warrior. Something older. Her wolf stiffened. Shade. Elder. Arya's blood went cold. Elder Shade, one of the three who ruled the council behind the scenes. The one rumored to deal in forbidden magic. The one whose whispers shaped wars and arranged assassinations. He stepped out fully, the moonlight reflecting off the bone mask. Arya Vale. His voice rasped like dead leaves scraping stone. It seems the spell finally failed. Arya bared her fangs. Elder Shade chuckled. Oh, child. You have no idea how long we have waited to end you once and for all. Arya lunged. But Shade lifted a hand, and the air snapped into chains of shadow that wrapped around her limbs like ice. Her howl shook the clearing. The chains held anyway. Struggle all you want, Shade hissed, stepping closer. Your mother fought harder than this. Arya's heart roared with fury. Shade leaned in. Do you want to know her last words? Arya's vision blazed white with wrath. Kill him, her wolf demanded. Kill him for her. Kill him for us. But the chains tightened. And Shade smiled. Her last words were. A snarl ripped through the night. Not Arya's. Rowan's. He burst into the clearing in full wolf form, massive, golden-eyed, fur bristling with dominance. His roar shook the stones. Shade hissed. You should not be here, boy. Rowan's wolf crouched low, muscles taut, eyes filled with murderous rage. Don't touch her. Shade sneered. Still protecting the Omega. Even after I told you. Rowan slammed into him. The forest exploded into chaos. The chains shattered. Arya leapt free. The elders had made one fatal mistake. They thought they were killing an Omega. They were facing a rising queen. The clearing erupted into violence. Rowan's wolf, massive, golden, furious, slammed Elder Shade through a tree trunk with bone-cracking force. Splinters burst through the air. Snow shook from branches. The ground trembled under the impact. Shade hissed as he rolled to his feet, dark robes torn, bone mask cracked across the right eye. You reckless cub, Shade spat, lifting a hand. Do you think your alpha blood can protect you from? Rowan didn't let him finish. He lunged again, jaws closing around Shade's arm, tearing flesh and shadow in one savage twist. Shade shrieked, stumbling, dark magic leaking like black smoke. But Arya didn't watch. She joined. Her wolf moved like moonlit lightning, surging forward with a roar that rattled the stones of the ancient circle. Her fury was not wild, it was righteous. For her mother. For her stolen birthright. For every lie that kept her small. Shade saw her coming and snarled. So the pup awakens, he spat. But you will fall just like your queen of a mother. Arya hit him like a storm breaking through steel. She tore through the last of his shadows, her claws slicing into the earth as she launched herself at him. Rowan attacked from the opposite side, golden power clashing with Arya's frostfire aura. Shade staggered as their combined force sent him crashing backward. But he did not fall easily. He lifted both arms, chanting words older than any pack tongue. Darkness rippled outward, forming twisted wolf shapes of shadow that bared jagged teeth. Spectres. Shade summoned spectres. Rowan's wolf snarled. Arya's hackles rose. Spectres lunged. Arya leapt, jaws snapping through the first one, its form shredded into smoke. Another lunged from behind. Rowan slammed into it, ripping the shadow in half. 3 more swirled out of the darkness, surrounding Arya. Her wolf crouched low, frost crackling beneath her paws as her instincts sharpened into something ancient and terrifying. She was not fighting like the Omega they mocked. She was fighting like the queen they tried to erase. She darted left. Ducked under a shadow wolf. Grabbed its throat. And smashed it into the ground with a force that echoed. Another lunged. She twisted, using its own momentum to fling it into a stone pillar where it burst apart. The last one hesitated, flickering. Arya inhaled. And her aura surged, glowing brighter and brighter until the spectre dissolved like mist touched by dawn. Shade stumbled back, shocked. How are you channeling that already? Arya growled, low and lethal. She didn't know how. She didn't care. Her power was instinct. Her rage was lineage. Her wolf was destiny. Shade bared his teeth under the cracked mask. Enough play. He slammed both palms into the ground. The stones at Arya's feet glowed. Her wolf froze as something ancient tugged at her spirit, a binding magic, old as the ritual circle. Shade gasped through gritted teeth, blood dripping from his arm. Yes, your mother resisted this spell too. But you. His eyes gleamed behind the mask. You are weaker. Arya's legs buckled. Her light flickered. Shade rose, breathing hard but triumphant. Do you understand now, Omega child? He hissed. You should never have awakened. You should have remained silent. Hidden. Forgotten. A deafening snarl exploded behind him. Rowan smashed into Shade so hard the elder's body slammed into a stone pillar, cracking it down the center. Shade's head jerked sideways. Blood sprayed. Rowan didn't stop. He pinned Shade to the ground, claws at his throat, golden eyes burning with fury unlike anything Arya had ever seen. Touch her again, Rowan's wolf growled, and I will rip your heart out. Shade wheezed. You fool, she is not your mate anymore, she was never meant for you. Rowan pressed harder. She is mine to protect. Arya froze, stunned. Rowan protected her. Claimed her. Chose her even after the rejection, the shame, the truth. The bond flickered inside her, confused but alive. Shade laughed, blood pooling beneath him. Pathetic, he rasped. You defend her, yet you do not even know the prophecy she carries. She will bring the fall of alphas, your fall, your entire line. Rowan's jaw clenched. And I'll burn that prophecy myself before I let you harm her. Shade's eyes widened. Rowan meant it. Arya's breath caught. But Shade wasn't done. He whispered one more spell, a foul, crumbling chant. Arya's wolf sensed it too late. Rowan's body jerked. A blast of shadow hit his side. He was thrown across the clearing, crashing into the stone circle, shifting back midair from shock. Arya screamed internally. Shade rose, staggering but smiling like a corpse who thought he'd won. Now, he panted, lifting a trembling hand, let us end the Frostborn line once and for. Arya moved before he finished. Her wolf exploded into motion, power rippling off her in violent waves. Snow swirled upward as raw frostfire aura surged from her paws. Shade's eyes widened with terror. No, impossible. Arya leapt. Not as an Omega. Not as a frightened girl. But as the heir of a bloodline that once ruled the entire wolf realm. She struck Shade with a force that shattered the bone mask completely, revealing a twisted, horrifying human face beneath. Shade screamed. The clearing shook. The stones glowed. The ritual circle cracked. Arya's fangs tore through the last elder binding placed on her wolf. A shockwave burst outward, silver and blinding. Shade's scream died. His body collapsed into ash. Silence fell. Then. A warm, aching groan. Arya spun, wolf heart dropping. Rowan lay against the cracked stones, half shifted, blood dripping down his ribs. His voice was faint but steady. Arya. Her wolf rushed to him, nudging his shoulder, whining softly. Rowan managed a pained smile. I'm okay. It takes more than a corpse witch to kill me. But Arya smelled the truth. He wasn't okay. He was hurt. Badly. Rowan lifted a shaking hand to her fur. "I'm sorry," he whispered brokenly. "I should never have rejected you." Arya froze. His eyes softened, filled with something raw and real. "You weren't beneath me. A breath. You were beyond me." Her wolf made a soft, agonized sound. Rowan exhaled weakly. "I don't know what fate plans for you, Arya Vale." He swallowed hard. "But I will follow you anyway." Her chest tightened until she thought it would break. Rowan Voss, arrogant alpha, her first wound, her first humiliation, now looked at her with reverence. Not for the queen she was becoming, but for the girl he should have fought for from the start. Arya lowered her head over him protectively. Tonight, she would defend him. Tomorrow she would confront an entire pack built on lies. Because Shade was only the beginning. The elders were still alive. The council still held the chains. And Silvercrest Pack had no idea their future alpha had just sworn himself to a rising queen. Arya nudged Rowan gently, urging him to stand. Her wolf pressed against his ribs, supporting his weight. Rowan groaned but pushed himself upright, leaning heavily into her warmth. "I'm fine," he lied through clenched teeth. He was not fine. The shadow blast had torn through muscle and fractured bone. Blood slicked his side, steaming in the cold air. His breathing was shallow. Shade's spell mark still flickered like black frost along his ribs. Arya's wolf snarled softly at the sight. Anger, fear, protectiveness twisting together. No. No more harm. Not to him. Rowan's fingers trembled as he brushed her fur. "You saved me," he whispered, voice cracking. "After everything, you still saved me." Arya's wolf lowered her head. Not because she forgave him. Not yet. But because the bond, however fractured, still pulsed between them like an old wound refusing to close. "He stood for us," her wolf murmured. "We stand for him." Arya sighed internally. They weren't done. Not by a long shot. Elder Shade was dead, but 2 elders remained. And the entire council would move the moment they learned a Frostborn heir lived. Rowan coughed, clutching her shoulder for support. "We need to get back to the pack before they strike again." Arya stiffened. "Return? To Silvercrest? To the wolves who mocked her? To the elders who chained her at birth? To the pack that let her grow up invisible?" Her wolf bristled. But Rowan lifted her chin gently. "Arya, listen to me." She stared at him, breath steaming in the cold. "I know I have no right to ask anything of you," Rowan said softly. "I know I failed you. I know I hurt you." His voice broke. "But Shade's death will not stop what's coming. And if the council senses weakness in the alpha line, they'll seize control." He swallowed. "If that happens, you won't be safe." Arya's wolf chuffed sharply. "We are safe now," she insisted. "We are powerful." Rowan shook his head. "Arya, power means nothing if you face an entire council alone. They'll gather their magic, their soldiers, their elders. They'll try to bind you again, or worse, use you." His jaw clenched. "They'll see your awakening as a threat to the hierarchy, to the line of alphas, to every political tie the pack has ever formed." Arya felt her stomach twist. Because he wasn't wrong. Her transformation had already changed the balance. When she returned, every wolf would feel her aura. Every alpha would sense her lineage. Every elder would know the Frostborn bloodline had survived the purge. Rowan took a shaky step forward. "Arya, you're not just a wolf anymore. You're a symbol." A pause. A queen. Her breath hitched in her throat. She wasn't ready for that word. But her wolf whispered, calm and certain. "You were born ready." Snow began to fall, gentle flakes drifting through moonlight. Rowan swayed, exhaustion dragging at him. Arya's wolf nudged beneath his arm, guiding him. "We return together," Rowan murmured. "To protect you. To face them." Arya tilted her head. Rowan hesitated, then admitted quietly. "To show the pack who you really are." A growl rumbled in her chest. She wasn't doing this for him. Not for their bond. Not for the rejection he now regretted. She was doing it for the girl she used to be. The one who carried trays, kept her head down, and whispered apologies into the dirt. She was doing it for her mother. The queen murdered to silence a legacy. She was doing it for every Omega who ever felt small, invisible, unworthy. Arya Vale was done being a ghost in her own pack. She would walk through Silvercrest's gates in full moonlit power. And every wolf would bow instinctively, not because she demanded it, but because their wolves couldn't help themselves. The walk back to the pack lands was slow. Rowan limped, leaning heavily on her wolf side. His clothes were torn, his body bruised, and despite his stubborn silence, she felt every jolt of pain through the thin remnants of their fractured bond. When the walls of Silvercrest came into view, torches blazed along the battlements. Guards shouted in alarm as they caught sight of a massive silver wolf escorting a staggering alpha. Rowan tried to speak, but the pain crushed his breath. Arya stepped forward, eyes burning like twin moons. The guards froze. Every wolf on duty felt it instantly. Dominance. Ancient. Royal. Undeniable. One guard staggered backward, dropping his spear. What is she?" Rowan forced out a whisper. "She is Frostborn." Gasps rippled. A name from legend. A bloodline erased from history. A power older than their entire pack. Arya padded through the gates, each step silent but thunderous in presence. Word spread before they even reached the main courtyard. Wolves poured out of houses and training dens. Beaters froze mid-run. Omegas dropped their baskets. Gammas bared their throats instinctively. Even Rowan's warriors, wolves hardened by battle, fell to one knee as her aura swept through the courtyard. Arya Vale, the Omega they mocked, now moved like the moon's chosen. She stopped at the center of the courtyard. Rowan collapsed against her side. Wolves gasped and whispered. "She saved him." "That's impossible." "She's glowing, look at her." "Is she an alpha?" "No, she's more." Then Elder Thorn, Shade's brother, stepped through the crowd with icy fury. His eyes landed on Arya. And fear flashed behind the rage. "You," he hissed. "The abomination lives." Arya growled, low and dangerous. Thorn raised a hand, summoning crackling runes. "You dare return? After killing Shade? After revealing the cursed blood your mother carried?" Arya roared. The sound shook roofs. Several wolves fell to their knees instinctively, clutching their chests as her aura flooded the courtyard, powerful, ancient, unbound. Thorn stumbled backward, hand trembling. "You, impossible, your wolf should still be sealed." Rowan forced himself upright, clutching his bleeding side. "Her wolf is Frostborn." His voice echoed through the courtyard. "You never should have touched her. You never should have lied about her lineage. And you never, ever, should have laid a hand on her mother." Thorn's anger twisted. "You defend her. The Omega you rejected." Rowan met Arya's glowing eyes. "I defend," he said quietly, "the queen you tried to destroy." Gasps swept the crowd. Thorn snarled. "There will never be another Frostborn queen. Not while I live." Arya stepped forward. Her wolf's voice thundered in her blood. "Then he will not live long." The courtyard stilled. Every wolf held their breath as Arya stepped toward Elder Thorn, her massive silver wolf form glowing under the torchlight. Her paws left shimmering frostfire prints against the stone. Thorn's fury twisted into something sharper. Fear. Stay back, he snapped, though his voice shook. You don't understand what you are. What your bloodline invites. What destruction follows a frostborn queen. Arya's wolf bared her fangs. I understand enough. Thorn's hands shook as he drew a series of runes in the air, dark magic swirling at his fingertips. The crowd recoiled. Forbidden magic. The kind wolves hadn't seen since the War of 3 Moons. Rowan snarled painfully from where he stood, half-shifted and bleeding. Thorn. If you cast that. It is the only way. Thorn shouted, voice cracking with old terror. We eradicated your mother. We sealed your wolf. I will not let a frostborn rise again. A few wolves gasped. He had said it out loud. He had admitted it. Before the entire pack. Arya's wolf let out a growl that scraped the sky. Thorn froze. Rowan stared at him with a horror that quickly turned to rage. You murdered her mother. Not a question. A verdict. Thorn's lips trembled. She would have torn the pack apart. Frostborn queens always do. Their power destabilizes the alpha bloodlines, creates chaos, creates wars. Arya stepped closer, slow, deliberate, terrifying. Chaos? War? No. The elders created all of that. Arya's wolf loomed over Thorn, breath hot against his face as she stared directly into the eyes of the wolf responsible for destroying her family. Thorn raised the spell. Too slow. Arya leapt. Her claws sliced through the runes before they could complete. The magic sputtered, then died. Thorn stumbled backward. No, no, stay back. Arya's wolf pinned him with a roar that crackled with frostfire. Wolves around the courtyard trembled, bowing under the force of her dominance. Even Rowan groaned as her aura surged around him, ancient, relentless, absolute. She was not an alpha. She was more. Thorn thrashed beneath her, terror pouring off him. Please, Arya, listen, you don't know what power runs in your veins. Your mother died screaming, your bloodline is cursed. Arya's growl rattled the stones. Her wolf's voice whispered through her mind. Ask him. So she did. Why? Arya demanded. Why kill my mother? Why silence the frostborn line? Why bind my wolf? Thorn tried to twist away. Arya slammed him down harder. His breath wheezed out as he gasped. Because the prophecy said the next frostborn queen would dethrone every elder, expose every secret we protected, destroy the council itself. We acted to preserve order. To preserve the packs. Arya's rage deepened. Preserve order. Preserve the packs. By murdering her mother. By chaining her wolf. By turning her into a servant. Rowan growled, staggering forward despite his wounds. Arya, finish it. End him before. Thorn shrieked suddenly, eyes going wide. Dark energy surged up his arms. A last desperate attack. Arya reacted before thought. Her aura ignited. The courtyard burst into blinding silver light. Wolves shielded their eyes. The ground cracked. The torches flickered wildly. Even the moon seemed to pulse brighter. Arya's wolf roared. And the frostfire exploded outward in a ring of shimmering power. Thorn screamed. Then fell silent. When the light faded, Arya stood panting above the elder's lifeless body, her fur glowing, her aura trembling with unleashed destiny. The courtyard was deathly still. Then, dozens of wolves dropped to their knees. Not because they wanted to. Because their wolves made them. Her presence demanded submission. Rowan fell to one knee as well. But not from dominance. From awe. He looked up at her like she was the only thing left in his world. "Arya," he whispered, voice filled with reverence and regret and something dangerously close to devotion. Arya's wolf stepped back, breathing heavily. She wasn't done. This wasn't victory. This was the beginning. Another elder remained. The council would retaliate. The packs would demand answers. Political turmoil would crack the region. And Arya, the girl who once hid behind trees to avoid attention, now stood in the heart of the pack she once served. Glowing. Powerful. Feared. Undeniable. "Shift," Rowan whispered softly. "Let them see you." Arya hesitated. "Shift. Here. Before the wolves who scorned her." But then she looked around. Every wolf bowed. Every warrior lowered their eyes. Even beaters trembled under her aura. No one mocked her. No one sneered. No one whispered. They feared her. But also admired her. Respected her. The pack that ignored her now held their breath for her next move. Her wolf pressed gently against her consciousness. "Show them the queen." Arya's form glowed. Silver light spiraling upward. Bones reshaping. Fur dissolving. Power condensing into human form. And Arya Vale stepped into the courtyard as herself. But not the Omega they knew. She was tall, regal, radiant with residual moonlight. Her eyes glowed with frost fire. Silver markings shimmered across her skin, ancestral runes awakening along her arms and collarbone. Gasps rippled. "That can't be. She's beautiful. She's frostborn. She's our." Rowan stared like he'd never seen her before. "Arya," he whispered hoarsely. "You're gods, you're." She lifted a hand. Rowan fell silent. Not because she commanded him, but because he finally recognized her. Not as an Omega, but as destiny. Arya stepped forward, her voice steady and strong. "Elder Thorn is dead," she announced to the crowd. "For the murder of my mother. For binding my wolf. For crimes against the Frostborn bloodline." Whispers erupted. She admitted it. She is the Queen's daughter. The prophecy. It's true. Arya continued. "I stand here not as your Omega." She lifted her chin. "But as the rightful heir to the Frostborn line." The courtyard erupted in stunned cries. Rowan lowered his head again. Not in guilt this time. In allegiance. But Arya wasn't done. Her gaze tightened. "And if the council wants to challenge me?" Her aura surged like a storm. "They can try." The ground trembled. Not from her power, but from a sound in the distance. A horn. A warning. Rowan stiffened. Arya's wolf growled. Because that horn meant only one thing. The council army was already on their way. The horn's echo rolled through the valley like a beast awakening. Wolves stiffened. Mothers pulled their children close. Warriors instinctively reached for weapons. The council was coming. Not with diplomacy. Not with caution. But with force. Arya felt the shift in the earth beneath her bare feet, thousands of paws pounding toward Silvercrest territory. A storm of wolves. Elders enforcers. Spellbearers. Execution units. All converging on her. Rowan dragged himself to his feet, using a shattered stone pillar for support. His face was pale, breath shallow, but his eyes were on Arya, never leaving her. "They're coming to kill you," he said quietly. Arya didn't flinch. She already knew. The moment her wolf awakened, the prophecy the elders feared became real. A Frostborn queen would rise and end their rule. Rowan swallowed, stepping closer despite the pain. "They'll destroy the pack to get to you." They'll burn Silvercrest to ash if they have to. Arya's gaze swept across the courtyard. The wolves bowing unconsciously beneath her aura. The fear twisting their faces. The hope trembling in their eyes. She could run. She could save herself. She could leave them to their fate. But her mother didn't die for her to hide. Her wolf whispered. Queens do not run. Arya's voice rang out, sharp and commanding. Everyone to the inner walls. Wolves jerked at the tone. The Omega who once whispered apologies now issued orders like thunder. Some hesitated, caught between shock and instinct. Rowan growled, his voice reverberating across the stone. Move. That is an order. The courtyard erupted into motion. Omegas fled with children. Beaters barked commands. Warriors formed defensive lines. Arya stepped beside Rowan. You're hurt, she murmured. He let out a weak laugh. You think that'll stop me? His legs buckled. Arya caught him before he fell. Rowan stared at her with a mixture of humiliation and awe. Don't waste strength on me. You stood between me and death, she said softly. I won't let you stand alone now. A warmth flickered in Rowan's chest. A trembling, stunned thing. His wolf whispered. She chooses us. But Arya wasn't choosing anyone. Not yet. She was choosing herself. And her pack. Even if they hadn't earned it. The ground shook violently. The council army emerged through the tree line, hundreds of wolves in dark armor, elders robed in shadow magic, the air thick with runes of binding and death. Elder Morthose, the last surviving council head, stepped forward, leaning heavily on a twisted staff carved with bone. His voice slithered across the battlefield. Frostborn child, he hissed. Come out. Surrender. And we will spare the pack. Arya stepped forward. The glow beneath her skin intensified. Rowan tried to stop her. Arya, don't. She silenced him with a look. Then she walked. Barefoot. Unarmed. Unafraid. Until she stood right before the council army. A single girl against a war. Morthose sneered. You killed Shade. You killed Thorn. You have broken ancient order. Arya's hair lifted in the rising wind. The order you built on murder and lies. Yes. Morthose slammed the staff into the ground. The sky darkened. Then you leave us no choice. Arya's wolf surged forward. Then let them try. Spellbearers raised their hands. Warriors crouched low. Runes flared blood red. Arya inhaled, and frostfire spiraled around her like a crown forming from wind and light. The first wave launched. Shadow chains shot toward her. Arya lifted a hand. And they shattered against her aura like glass hitting steel. The second wave surged. Dozens of warriors charging simultaneously. Arya stepped forward and released a pulse of silver energy. Warriors flew backward as if struck by a storm front. Gasps echoed behind her as Silvercrest watched their once silent Omega wield power no Alpha could even dream of. Morthose screamed in rage. Foolish girl. You cannot fight the council alone. Rowan, half-shifted and breathing hard, shouted from behind her. She is not alone. He shifted fully, golden wolf form staggering forward but filled with unwavering loyalty. His warriors followed, forming a line at Arya's back. Morthose snarled. You defend her. Even knowing the prophecy says the Frostborn Queen will end your reign. Rowan's wolf growled deeply. Then let her. Arya turned slightly, just enough to meet Rowan's glowing eyes. He wasn't fighting for dominance anymore. He was fighting for her. The bond pulsed once, hesitant but alive. Arya swallowed emotion and faced Morthose again. Then. The elder raised his staff for a final, catastrophic spell. Rowan's warning scream tore through the battlefield. Arya, move. The staff burst with crimson power, lightning crackling outward like the sky bleeding. Arya raised both hands. Her aura erupted. Frostfire collided with council lightning in a blinding explosion. The ground split. The air shattered. The moon flared overhead. For a moment, everything was light. When the shockwave cleared, Morthos's staff lay cracked in two. The elder fell to his knees. Arya stood before him, breathing hard, covered in frostfire glow, eyes blazing with ancestral vengeance. Morthos trembled. No, no. Frostborn are extinct, you cannot. Arya placed a hand on his forehead. You stole my mother. You stole my wolf. You stole my childhood. Her voice was ice. And you will steal nothing ever again. Frostfire surged. Morthos screamed. Then dissolved into ash. Silence consumed the valley. Every wolf stared as Arya lowered her hand. The council was no more. The Frostborn legacy lived. Arya Vale had claimed her right. Slowly, wolves began bowing. Not from fear, but from reverence. First beaters. Then warriors. Then omegas with tears in their eyes. Then Rowan's wolf limped toward her, shifting painfully into human form. He dropped to one knee. Not as an alpha, but as a wolf offering his loyalty, and his heart. Arya Vale, he said hoarsely, voice trembling with truth. You rose where I tried to keep you down. You fought where I failed. You became everything the moon destined you to be. He lowered his head fully. My queen. The words echoed. Arya's breath caught. Her wolf whispered. We are no longer the Omega they mocked. We are the queen they never saw coming. Arya reached out, lifting Rowan's chin gently. The pack held its breath. Her voice was soft, but the earth seemed to lean in to hear it. You once rejected me, Rowan Voss. His eyes closed in shame. She continued. But you never turned away when I rose. His eyes opened, golden, hopeful, afraid. Arya smiled gently. And a queen does not rise alone. Gasps rippled across the courtyard. Rowan's breath trembled. Arya, does that mean? She stepped closer. It means, she whispered, that the future begins now. And under a moon that had waited decades for this moment, the scorned Omega stood tall before her wolves, frostfire blazing in her veins, destiny whispering at her back. For tonight, Arya Vale didn't just survive the prophecy. She became the queen it was written for.